What is up, guys? Orbital-Pilot back here once again in the world of Warthunder. Now, this time, we're taking out the P51. This is a plane that was suggested, that people wanted, and that's kind of in a weird place in Warthunder. Not because of the plane, but because of the player base. Yes, it's one of those videos, guys. So before we get into the gameplay, what I actually did is I actually recorded me climbing a little bit so I could talk about the stuff I needed to before the gameplay got interesting. So, let's get started. American teams. Yes, we're talking about American teams again. I know, a highly sore subject, but I wanted to put my view out there because lately I've only posted my view in the comments down below, and probably not everyone has seen them. So, if you guys have seen other YouTubers talk about American teams, you know most of them say that the community is, I'm trying to use bigger words here, but basically their information is completely malnourished, their attitude is mostly cocky, and when they get beat, they're not very friendly. So, you know, those types of people. But here's the thing. I'm not going to go out and call out all American pilots, because, trust me, not all American pilots are bad. I have met some amazing American pilots. Some of the best pilots in the game that I personally know are American pilots. Obviously, a very large majority of the player base is American, and I think that's the problem, and that's why American teams are known to be so bad. Now, if you've seen people like Orange talk about him, you know, he suggests raising the repair costs, and I am totally down for that. 100% completely understand and agree on his viewpoint. But I am looking for more of the root cause of the problem. Now, a lot of Americans play British, play German. Those pilots are great most of the time. A lot of them play Japan. A lot of people play this game because they want to fly those iconic planes. Sadly enough, Americans have some of the most iconic planes. For instance, you have the F-80, you have the P51, you have, you have the Spitfires, you have the Zeros. And that's the thing. The reason that American pilots are seen so much like this because they jump in, they hear these legendary stories, and when I say legendary, I do mean legendary. These pilots in history that had 20, 30 kills, that the P-51s were dominating, all these legends and stories about these aircraft. Now, all those legends at least, not all of them are incorrect. American planes were a dominating force. But here's the thing, our pilots were also really good. So, when Americans go join an aircraft-based game, guess what country they're going to join? Probably not Japan, probably not Russia, probably not Germany, probably not Britain. No, they're going to go jump in the American lineup. Now, what also you hear in history, that was a little bit of a weird phrasing, but you hear nothing about dogfights. Dogfights. You look at historical movies, ones that aren't so much based on true history, and those dogfights mostly consist of what we call turn fighting. Even in movies. That wasn't so in history. So you have this player base that go jump in American planes and go and turn fight people. So now you have a bunch of inexperienced pilots flying really good planes, but are getting absolutely ran over. So what happens? Well, the P-47 is dropped down to a ridiculously low battle rating. Same thing with the P-51. Historically, if you want it to be completely accurate, the P-51 should be at a battle rating of 6.0, where it fights Me-262s, Focke-Wulf 190s, the D-13s, these crazy good planes. That would be historically correct. People don't want that, though. Trust me. You think American pilots get slaughtered now. You don't even know what would happen if the planes were at their historically correct battle rating. So, what I think we should personally do is maybe have some of those American pilots, I'm not going to say tutorials, but the consequences of losing should be better. You shouldn't be able to go on and, get your aircraft killed in, $2,000, $3,000 to repair it? No way. I completely agree with Orange on the increasing the amount of money needed to repair your plane, and also the consequences. Because the game should not only reward you for getting a kill, which I personally believe it should reward you more, it should discipline you more for dying. And that would say, hey, players, we need... Obviously, this isn't working. So you need to go, you need to fly differently, and try out different tactics. Make them learn. Because right now, it doesn't seem like they're learning. And I don't know quite why, because let me just say this. I was once a terrible American pilot, too. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. How we can fix this problem. And, what you think needs to be done. But let's get into the gameplay. So, to catch you guys up, I started this dive in combat at 6,400 meters. I've been diving down. I severely damaged 2 of the planes that they are about to go land. Now, this is the majority of the gameplay. Stock 50 cals. Are they great? No. Is the energy retention on this plane great? No, in fact, it's pretty bad. Almost terrible. Does this plane turn well? Nope, at least not stock. This is a fully stocked plane. So you may ask, what does it do well? Well, nothing in particular. But there's one advantage I do have, and that's energy retention and amount of knowledge in this game. Obviously, I am quite more experienced than these guys. I have got to level 30. On my other account, I think I'm level 50 now, so 80 levels of playing Warthunder. I think I know a little bit more about the situation than these guys. So, I have an advantage. Now, earlier, I just did damage another person's aircraft. In fact, that was his cooling system, so he'll probably be going to land. Now, in 1K, not a wise idea to go head on, but he was going to have to pull positive G's and flip over to shoot me. I was guessing he couldn't do it. I was correct, luckily enough. So now we have another aircraft heavily damaged. He won't be staying in the air for very long. So now the game is in a little bit of a weird position. There's no planes left up. Well, at least on this side of the map. But when I say that, normally I mean, well, there's no planes that are living. But in this case, it is a little bit of a different situation. Instead of planes not living anymore, they're simply landing. Now, normally this doesn't happen because, well, you have 20 millimeter cannons, or your guns actually do something. But not in this case. So this is where a lot of Americans have problems. A lot of players, actually, not just the American pilots. What should they do now? Well, here is where I make one of my greatest mistakes. Ki-61 and an A6M5. Should I be striking them on the runway? Yes, it is my best and easiest way of killing them. So 1 player down. But this right here is where I made the most fatal flaw in this entire match. I take it directly back up. I should not have done this. I should have put it at a 30-degree angle, and I should have climbed for 5 or 6 minutes, giving me that 3,000 meter advantage. That would have given me A, more altitude, more energy, and really, I might have actually won the match. So, I killed the Ki-61. Now, that was kind of a worthless kill because he was going to have to land anyway. He was not going to make it anywhere because his cooling system was completely fried. Going heads up again, not the wisest idea. Luckily enough, do get a couple shots in, but stock 50 cals, they're just not going to do much. So, because I didn't climb, gain that separation, gain that altitude, now I have a problem. I am still using the correct tactics. Yes, I'm booming, I'm zooming, but I don't have enough energy retention to do it enough. So I'm having to turn over, and each time I do this, I'm gaining less and less altitude. So, Ki-61 will eventually go down. But there's two more planes over here. And there's really not much a P51 like this is going to be able to do. Now, of course, 50 calibers. Do I shoot his plane down? No. Well, I put hundreds of holes, not hundreds, but you know, lots of holes in his engine, which makes him have an oil leak. Now, I'm not sure where in the engine I shot him, but he's leaking both he's leaking both oil and coolant. So he will be going down very, very shortly. Now, right now, I am truly playing with fate, like, heavily. I'm guessing I'm a better shot than these people. Luckily enough, I am correct, but luckily enough, the Japanese cannons spark just as much as these 50 cals. Now, I recommend using tracer belts, or, universal. Sorry, guys. These universal belts are quite good, along with the tracers. Now, you can use stealth, but I find that they really don't do any more damage than the tracers. So, a lot of American pilots like to know where their bullets are going, which is understandable. Now, I would not recommend going heads up again, but you know what? I'm kind of out of options here. It says I don't have any engine damage. I'm not completely sure I believe that. I think the heavy trail of coolant is a proper sign that my engine is probably not going to hold on for too much longer. Now, for some weird reason, my temperatures aren't actually going higher. But that's a pretty evident sign that something is going wrong. I'm no, mechanic, but I do believe that smoke is bad. So, you know. But because of that fatal flaw that I made with the A6 and 5, now I'm low, I'm slow, I'm not going to be able to fight off the rest of the team. Now, we put up a good fight. One really, really strong fight. We carried the team, but there's just not a lot two more P51s can do. We can't save the rest of the match. I don't have enough ammunition, especially for stock belts. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that the P51 is a great plane. Play it to its strengths, you will succeed, and you will have a lot of fun. Also, a good team doesn't hurt. So guys, let me know what you thought down in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time. By the way, follow me on Snapchat at Orbital-Pilot, along with Twitter.